A
I
research
was like,
assistant.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was looking into, how can I, make a career out of clinical research. And I was on LinkedIn. I stumbled upon your page, and you were such a big advocate of people starting their own sites.
Oh
And
yeah,
I,
still
yeah,
am.
yeah, yeah. And I watched your, your, OG videos on the whiteboard about how to find the investigator, how to,
Ah, that's the old
like
one.
get the insurance. If they don't have the insurance, go add the, research, portion of it. Now I just was, I was learning about everything from there. And I emailed you and said, hey, Dan, I want to open a research site in Washington. And you were so supportive. And then I actually came and talked to you about my education choices and everything. And so basically, I was an RA, and then I decided I want to do clinical research. So I went back to school full time, but in the evening, like after work, and
Yeah.
that's how I got my MBA in leadership. And I'm really glad I did that because I wasn't from US. And now that I did
Ah, I
my
gotcha.
MBA,
I
yeah,
gotcha.
it really helped me learn how to do business the right way, the American way in the US, and learning the
I
infrastructure
see.
and everything. It helped
Well,
so
that
much.
is actually one good example. I'm generally like, when it comes to start a business, like in your case, you are, by the way, everybody watching, this is Sammy Shokati. His LinkedIn is underneath. I interacted with him on Instagram too, but his LinkedIn is that's where the professional people can go. Sammy started a site. So he, as you heard him say, research assistant, then a coordinator based on my chat history with you, and then we have back some back and forths. But you bring up a really good point that I don't think I ever covered. I'm generally advised against like going for another degree. But in the case of, and especially a business degree, but in the case of you, because you didn't do college in the US, right?
I did my undergrad in the US.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, but it was fully STEM. It was all because I was going to
I
go to
got
med
you.
school. So
I
whatever I
got you.
studied was heavy in STEM.
But when did you immigrate to the US? Like what age?
20 February of 2016.
Okay, okay. Well, you were like on the border of like, I would say it doesn't hurt that you're gonna do the MBA and it clearly worked in your favor, is working in your favor. But when you do bring up a good point, when you're not familiar with the US customs and culture and you want to start a site in the US, I think there is some benefit there. Now, in your case, you had the undergrad in the US. I see University of Washington, so it's less important because you are learning, the culture. But to someone, let's say they're just recently immigrated, I actually don't think a college course degree is a bad idea because you're gonna learn the culture. Like those things are important, and those are things like we don't really talk about too much because we take it for granted. But it is true, and we do have a lot of immigrant site owners. I myself am an immigrant. Technically, we moved here when I was
Yeah,
3 years old, but there's a lot. I love my immigrant Guru Nation out there, and there's a
yeah.
lot. And sometimes they do struggle with it's seemingly mundane. Like, is this appropriate to ask? I kind of understand now. So thank you for
Yeah.
bringing that, for mentioning that.
Absolutely, yeah. I can tell you what were the things from my MBA that actually helped a lot. I think for me was I was familiar with the STEM side of things, and I was doing the RA job, so I was learning the regulatory data entry standards and all of that. But what I wasn't really familiar was the business culture and
Mhm.
how to negotiate and those kind of things. And I remember at the beginning, I was more negotiating, so to say, the Iranian way, and I didn't know the negotiation
What's
culture.
what's the Iranian way? Let's break this down real quick.
Absolutely.
I've worked with many
So
Iranians,
yeah,
Persian. I always call them Persian. That's the same thing, no?
Persian. Yes,
Yeah,
Persian.
I
Yes,
always
yes.
refer
And
as
I'm
Persian.
Persian too, actually.
hmm
Yeah.
hmm
I would say a huge portion of conducting business in Iran or Middle East compared to United States is culture. And we come from a culture that, let's say, we negotiate in a way that we sit in front of each other and we compromise, and we just, go back and forth. And, we try to top dog each other and bring different reasoning until we come to an agreement.
Hmm.
But if
But
you want
it's
to apply this,
understood from both parties that
yes,
it's not gonna
yes,
be pleasant, or maybe it is pleasant, or
yes. Well, I mean, it's not, it's understood from both parties. It's not going to be pleasant.
okay, okay,
And at the end of it, it's not going to be hostile, you know?
okay. That's the
And
important part.
yeah, but in US, you can't really do that.
And it's not taken
Once you do,
personal in Persian
hmm?
culture? Is it taken personal in Persian culture, like if you offend someone during this negotiation, or it's understood
No,
that
not
this
really.
is all is fair in business?
Yes, yes. Like they insult
Okay.
each other and then they,
See,
shake
because
hand.
in
It was
US
good
you
luck.
can't do that. In the
Yeah,
US culture you
yes,
can't do that. If you insult someone,
yes,
it's essentially over,
yes,
And
yes,
so
yes,
I think that is a very good point.
yes,
Romanians are similar in that regard, I think, to the Persians. Although Persians from my experiences, seem to go a lot further.
yes,
Romanians more like maybe the Hispanics who they'll still do that, but they'll stop at a certain point because they don't want to either like come across they're trying too hard. And so it's like kind of ends the negotiation on both sides. But the Persian,
yeah,
they don't stop.
yeah.
They don't
No,
stop.
they're tough negotiators,
Yeah,
honestly. They're
yeah.
tough negotiators. And I was the same. And it took me time until, I lost one really good opportunity
With
as
who?
an RA, No, as an RA, I was with my site, but I was doing such an amazing job that actually my bosses wanted me to um send me over to a different um state so I can start a whole operation for them. And it was a
Oh.
fantastic opportunity for me at that time, but just due to the fact that I wasn't, very familiar with the negotiation cultures, I lost that opportunity.
Wait, okay,
And
so you were a research assistant. When you say that, I assume an academic medical center, but you're talking about like a regular site or what kind of?
no, I was with a dedicated research facility.
Ah, okay. So
Yeah,
what, like a
yeah,
private clinic, like a,
yes,
and they wanted to expand and they saw promise in you and hey Sammy,
yes,
why don't you
yes,
go? Where was it?
yes,
Well, you don't have to say if you don't want to mention, but
yeah. Yeah, it was there in Washington, and
mm,
it was a fantastic site, honestly.
mm.
I learned so much, and they wanted to start another operation in a different state, and they saw how hard I'm working and how dedicated I am in research, and they said, yeah, we want to try it out. You're a research assistant right now, but you're learning your regulatory very fast, and we're gonna show you the support that you need. But basically, we want you to take this opportunity as a growth for yourself and start this thing for us. But I just negotiated it so, for the lack of a better word, the Iranian way, that
Mm.
they said, yeah, you know what, it came off as this guy is trying to hard
Yeah,
bargain,
to hustle.
and yeah,
That's the
and that was one of
danger.
the learning experiences for me.
That
Like,
is
okay,
the
yeah, like you need to
danger.
go back and learn. Yeah, yeah,
That's the danger. That's the
yeah,
part, you said it right. That's the part where if you don't know the culture, the nuances, you will go too hard with
yes,
what you're naturally inclined maybe to do from your own culture.
yes,
And you don't think it's bad. Like you said, you expect at the end both don't take any offense, and but in US culture they might, and
yes,
they might
yeah,
say, well, Sammy, he's promising as hell, but he's gonna
yeah,
give us a hard time because if this is what he's asking for now. In 3 months, he's gonna ask, once it's proven,
yeah,
he's gonna ask for even more. That's probably the
yes,
mentality.
yes,
And yeah, you're right. But maybe that was meant
yeah,
to be then because you had to
yeah.
start your own.
You know, yeah, that happened. And then I started my MBA. And, funny thing is, when I started my MBA, I always was in my head, I'm going to finish the MBA and then I'm going to get a little bit more experience. And whenever I feel like I'm ready, I'm going to start the site. Like I was very intentional since when I was an RA that I want to open an
Yeah.
independent research clinic. And funny thing is, in my head, I was like, as a as a side owner, I feel like you've made it once you get invited by that. And I always
Wow.
had this vision in my head that once I get invited by Dan for his podcast, I know I've made it as a
Oh
as a
man.
legitimate site owner, you know.
Yeah, because you
And I
left a
always had
comment.
this vision that we're going to talk on your podcast and everything. That was one of those things that I was like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna get there. You'll get there. It's okay. You just keep hustling, keep hustling.
Keep
So when it
hustling.
actually happened, it was such a crazy moment for me. It was like, wow, it is actually happening. Oh my god, it was just crazy.
Yeah, because you commented on a video. I made it specifically like more for the CRAs, but really applied to anyone. A long
Yeah,
podcast on it's not as hard as you think to start a
yeah,
site, but it's in many ways it is harder than you think. But in those areas you haven't even thought about it yet. So
yes,
like what you're thinking, what most people are thinking about that's gonna be hard is not. What
yes,
is hard is what they don't even know. That's the blind
100%,
spots. So they're
100%.
worried, they have fear, and I mean, fear is a necessarily a good thing because it keeps us alive.
Yeah,
But they have a fear about completely wrong thing, which is kind of stupid in my like in a hindsight 2020. I think it's like dumb, but yeah, of course it's normal. But what they're actually afraid of, they don't even know what they're afraid of.
yes,
So we're gonna
yes.
here come here with people like Sammy and tell you what the real things you should be afraid of. And it's not what you think.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. Like for me, I think one of my biggest challenges was being able to find a good PI, you know,
Mm.
and that was one of the things that I was worried about. I was in my head. I was like, Sammy, once you find a good PI, once you find a good location, get yourself, buy your equipment, you're set,
Right, right.
But finding the PI was one of the easiest steps for me because my PI was my classmate in my grad school, and we just stumbled upon each other.
Ah,
Yeah, he was an MD. He wanted to branch out into more like mm, tech side of medicine,
yeah, yeah.
and that's why he was getting his MD, and
But
I'm just
researchers are
so
good to do
grateful.
that too. There's a
Yeah,
guy who came to Save Our Sites conference, a Dr. Ali. I call him Dr. Ali. I forget his last name, but he's here in Phoenix. And he's an MD, he's a PI, but he's also interested in that tech
yeah,
stuff, especially the
yeah.
AI. And honestly, what better way to get in than to be
Yes,
on the ground floor because all these tech companies want to know what sites pain points,
100%, hundred
right?
percent.
So
And
that's right. That's right.
yeah, and something that has happened to me then that is so interesting for me is once we opened the site and got things up and running, right now I'm being approached to be on different advisory boards or be co-founder on a lot of like AI longevity type
Wow.
of, yeah,
What
because
are
they
you
say
doing to attract this? Are you networking or are you just being
I'm
approached?
networking. Yeah, I'm networking. I network a lot. I talk to people, I love to talk to other founders because I feel like um for me, when I went to my business school, and that's the standard that I have for myself, and I don't think it should be the benchmark or the standard. I think people have to define their own success as they find it.
Yeah,
But for me, it was like you're a good business operator once you have a proven track record of being a solid founder, you know. And so when I started National Eagle and it started picking up and we got to a relative, I would say, point of stability, I was like, maybe it's time for you to see what else is out there and what how else you can contribute, how else you can take the knowledge that you had as a founder here and apply to other firms.
I
And
got you.
yeah, and
There's a
one thing that I
lot
see a
in
lot.
research. There's a
Oh
lot
yeah,
of those opportunities. Like
there's so
for
much.
people, I mean, you're thinking in advanced calculus terms now because yeah, I think the site ownership is great. Like, but ultimately that is a commodity as well. Like, there's gonna be a lot of consolidation. But what like the
100%.
next wave is this tech stuff. And if you want to truly be like a diversified entrepreneur, which I'm also trying to do, you want to get some action on the tech side. But you don't just, it doesn't just happen like for people without a tech background. It's
Yeah.
usually those kind of companies seek out site owners like me and you.
Yes. 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 Yeah. And I think like one of the things that I'm seeing, and I think you would be a lot better of a person to kind of evaluate my read on the industry. Um, I'm seeing a lot of AI platforms coming in as an idea and on the seed stage, and I think all of these different platforms are going to face regulation, FDA approvals, and all those things. And if you can help them out with their regulatory affairs right now as a site, you're going to be able to host their
Yes.
protocols later,
Yes.
and that was one of my ultimate, so to say, selling points in one of the companies that I'm trying to get involved in right now, which is they are a longevity platform. And when they brought me in, I started talking about they showed me the features and everything. I was like, okay, so do you think you can have syncing capabilities with, I don't know, with Libre or Dexcom and those kind of stuff? Do you think you're going to be able to build in a calorie calculator? Because a lot of people are going to are counting their calories as a health measure. And I provided a little bit of what's on the industry, and they really enjoyed that. But they also, one of my other selling point was like, I know all my regulatory, I already have a site, I already am able to get you validated and like
Mm-hmm.
get your FDA guidelines a lot faster than anybody else, just because I am in the space, so like kind of my company can go hand to hand with your efforts.
Were this like
And
a angel round or like a pre-seed
yeah.
tech
Yeah, it's a
company?
pre-seed. Yeah, it's a pre-seed, and it's fully equity. So it's like I'm not getting anything out of it right now. I just have to help
Yeah.
out until we get to a point that, and
Yeah.
it's really
Yeah.
not 100% yet either. But as talking about
Of course.
opportunities and what's out
And
there as side owners.
most of those things don't pan out because I've been an advisor and a seed, seed round, and gonna start doing angel investing soon, which is something new I'll start podcasting about. But most won't go anywhere, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of it depends on how much, like if you're a site owner, what you have is this asymmetrical information, I guess repository of information that's
Mhm.
asymmetrical to the tech founders
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
have, I mean, you could tell it's bullshit or not right away. Like, would your
Yes.
site use this? Well,
Yeah.
like, there's two criteria for a tech company, but we'll get back to your site real quick. But there's two
Yeah.
criteria for tech companies. Will will my site use it for free?
Hmm. Hmm.
That's benchmark number one. Forget about money right away. Will
Yeah.
they use it for free? Most of this shit, as a site owner, I say no, right?
Yeah.
And number two, if the first one is yes, how much? And then
Yeah.
like, so what's my margins? And
Yeah.
like to and if the first one is yes, there is
Yeah.
an alternative of how many sites can I get to use this for free before I start charging
Yes.
sponsors for this?
Yeah.
The majority fail at number one.
I
Like
agree.
95% I would not touch your thing for free even. I wouldn't even
Yeah.
waste my time messing with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I
It's
think
the,
if
it's
you're
the
a
same
tech
thing for
company,
me.
that's the mentality you should
Yeah.
think with. Not
Yeah.
a lot of them jump to number two. How do we
Yeah.
get sponsor and sites to pay for this? Well,
Yeah.
no, you gotta
Yeah.
go back one step. Like, will sites even use this for free?
Yes. Yes. And I think that's one of the other things that I see a lot from the standpoint of um people who work in the space as intermediate between the sites and the sponsors, and they come to and say, yeah, like I can get you like these many protocols, this, that, these are the promises, but I'm going to charge you this amount monthly, or I'm going to charge you, um,
Ah,
you know, and my first thing is, why don't we make it success based? Because
yeah,
I'm not in a position that I can, especially as a newer site, I'm not in a position that I can, like spend a lot of money. I have to be very, conservative with my
yeah.
budget. And that's the
No,
first
no,
thing that
you're
happens. And the funny
absolutely
thing
right.
is,
You're
yeah,
absolutely right. If these tech vendors don't consider will sites use this for free, like that
yeah,
alone is gonna filter out 95% of this shit. And don't just
yes,
invent the answers. Actually
yeah,
go to
yeah,
sites and like sites are very difficult to sell.
yeah,
So if
yeah,
they start telling you something, then you know you have something. That's when if I start angel investing,
mhm,
it's that information asymmetry. Like if I know I'm
yeah,
gonna use it,
yeah,
hey, do you guys have the seed round? Can I get invited on the angel like family and friends round? Because
yeah,
this might
yeah,
be good. Most of the
yeah,
time it's like, I don't think you really have a chance.
yeah, 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 yeah. And I mean, that's the other thing that I think it's so it will be such an amazing thing to have in this space, the angel investors, and being able to, have some kind of infrastructure that helps, the capital, financial and political, honestly,
Mm.
to move around a little bit. Because when I wanted to start, first thing I did was SBA loans, and I think I messaged you
When you
about
started
it.
your site, SBA
Yeah,
loan.
yeah, yeah.
How did that work
And
out?
funny, Dan, I applied to maybe 30, 40 different loans
Yeah.
between creditors, banks, and everything. The common answer I got from all of them, and I had a 70, 80 page business plan, and with all the financials, everything. And all of them came back and said, we do not know this sector enough so that we can evaluate your risk.
Hmm.
That was the common answer I got. Some of them were saying, yeah, you're not showing any income. Some of them were saying, but a lot of them, they were just, we just are incapable of evaluating your risk. That's
Hmm.
how niche this industry is.
Yeah. I have
Yeah,
yet to meet anyone in our space. I've been told SBA loans since I
yeah,
started in 2005, and I've
yeah,
tried. We've tried
yeah,
for different companies. I
yeah,
have yet to even meet a
yeah,
founder
yeah,
in research a site
yeah.
who has been successful getting.
I
They
know.
might have gotten like a loan SBA backed or something, but like
Yeah,
to get an actual grant, you're
yeah,
not. I don't think you're getting that. This is why another thing I tell sites, don't even waste time with these 80-page business plans because
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean maybe it helps to get your thoughts on paper, which is worth it.
yeah,
But if you're just doing it to do it, just hopefully get a loan and then you don't,
yeah,
it's not actually your plan. You
yeah.
just wasted time because most of these banks are gonna tell you no.
I agree. I agree, and that's what happened with us. And so we bootstrapped it.
The
We bootstrapped it.
only
It was
way.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It was painful, but hey, we
Call it my
survived. We're
immigrant
okay.
background.
Yeah,
But like immigrant, like my parents, I mean, we moved here when I was 3, but I'm still technically immigrant, so I was raised with that old school. My brother was born here, he's younger. He's raised a little different, right? But they get more creative with their stuff. But like old school, it's simple, you know? You need to raise the money yourself. What do you mean you're gonna have somebody else give you? Like they don't understand this concept of
yeah,
other people give you
yeah,
money, which in America it's like almost like an entitlement. Like, oh
yeah,
yeah, they're gonna give you here and there and you don't have to do
yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And for me, it was basically the same thing. My thing was, well, when I started being an RA, I decided that I want to do this. So ever since then, I started saving up 10% of every single paycheck to
Wow.
start the site.
From a research
And then,
assistant.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And RA coordinator, and then project manager, and then CRA2, and then all of those just accumulated all that cash. Because well, I mean, and then goes back to, like, from for the people that they are really intentional about opening a site, it's really important to have a vision from right now.
Yeah.
It's important to commit to that vision right off the bat and start, taking actions toward it. So in 3 4 years, span, you're in a position that you can comfortably start things. I think it's very important to be
Yes.
very intentional about it. And
So when did
um,
you, from RA, when
yeah,
did the thought enter your mind that maybe I should be a site owner?
when did okay,
Like right
that's a
away
that's a
or
very good question.
yeah.
Well, I guess let me put it let me step back a little bit more than that. I finished my undergrad, and then I wanted to go to med school. And I took some time off to see what's in the space and everything. And I ended up finding the research assistant job. And my thing was, this is an amazing opportunity for me to get research experience so I can use it toward my medical school application.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But when I came in, I saw the space and I saw the opportunities, and I also kind of observed the nature of the work. I realized that I'm actually a lot happier doing this compared to being a full-on clinician, because my
Yep.
thing was, this gives me an opportunity. I was like, why do you want to be a doctor? You want to be able to help people, you want to be able to make a difference, and you want to be able to have a relatively comfortable life in terms of financial aspects. And I said, okay, well, clinical research is offering you all of these. You can do ethical research, you can help people. And I was seeing how much people, like, can get help from, research.
Who were you
And I was like,
seeing
yeah,
on the financial rewards of it? Who were you seeing, or I guess who was your blueprint for,
hmm,
I know this is a good career because
yeah.
was it who you worked for at the time?
It was a little bit of it who I worked for at the time. And it was a little bit of it just, going out there and talking to people,
Mm.
finding other site owners, and putting in a little bit of work, like, honestly, your podcast, one of the things that, like, I came on your podcast, and I listened to them, and I saw you were talking about the budgets and things like that, and I was like, okay, well, obviously there is a lot of earning potentials here. if you
Wow,
if you
okay.
you know do solid work, there are earning potentials here, and you're going to be able to, there is enough margins to be able to build in a, let's say, 5, 10 years, build a solid, functional, fruitful enterprise. But at the same time, with the right mission and vision for that enterprise, you're going to be able to help a lot of people and have meaningful work.
So
And
you saw the blueprints here and there, and then, by the way,
yes.
we got to get you to Save Our Sites
Thank
this year.
you.
It's gonna
I would
be in
love to
San
come.
Diego in 2026. So we gotta,
I would
it's
love to
exactly
come.
made for people like you, especially if you like networking. That's where you
I love
gotta go.
networking.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
the seed was planted early, and then
Yeah.
the next phase is like building up the courage to do it.
Yeah.
So how was that next process?
Honestly, Dan, that part was the most difficult part. And one thing is, I'm so grateful. And then this is one thing that I wanted to say, going back to being extremely intentional from being an RA and a coordinator about opening a site, because that just radiates through every decision making you have as a coordinator. Well, I knew that I wanted to be a site owner, right? So every single CRA, every single auditor, every single sponsor that would come in was my opportunity to show customer service and build my foundation in the network that will come, you know?
So you were
And
networking even then, just kind of, let's say your
absolutely.
CRA came, hey, like you
Yeah.
didn't maybe
Yeah.
explicitly say I want to start a site, or maybe eventually you did, but you were just kind of talking to
Yeah.
them.
Yes. Yes. And not talking about starting a site, or not talking about um anything that would imply my intentions toward, like, being a little bit like trying to use them as for future use or something like that. But showing, genuine courtesy and customer service. I think one of the things that are extremely overlooked in clinical research from coordinator standpoint is customer service.
Yes.
Showing customer service to CRAs, actually, like, they call you, picking up right away. They respond to email right away, even if you're not in house. Hey, thank you very much. Please expect an update by tomorrow EOB.
Right, be
That gives the
courteous.
CRA, a sort of, calmness in his head. Okay, yeah, like, he's on it. He's going to send the doc, and I'm going to be okay. You,
Mm-hmm.
as a CRA, I was a CRA too. So as a CRA, you can't put a price on that, especially when you're like
No.
ready to, submit your report, and you're waiting for that one little
And
document.
now when your team lead and the sponsor is like, hey,
Yeah.
'cause I was CRA, I had a CRA stint as well for a few years.
Yeah.
They're on you. Like the
Yeah.
CRAs are not asking you because they're dicks,
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
mean, once in a while that's the case, but usually it's
Yeah.
they're getting pressure. And if you're a
Yes.
coordinator that's not even responding, you're
Yes.
basically
Yes.
contributing to their anxiety,
100%.
when you could be alleviating it to some extent. So
100%.
maybe
Yeah.
be the alleviation of someone's anxiety.
be
instead
the
of the
alleviation for
cause.
the, yeah, yeah, 100%. And there's one more thing that happens, that those CRAs that are working on the studies with you as a coordinator in a 4 or 5 year span, they're going to be medical directors and clinical directors and
Yep,
decision makers in terms of site feasibility. So if you show a track record of doing good quality research, they
yep.
really don't have any reason for them to not bring you business.
That
You
is
know?
exactly right. The people you work with today, the RAs of today, the junior CRAs of today, a decade from now could be a site owner, could be a director of whatever.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And they usually graduate, if from a CRO, they graduate to a sponsor, and then
Yes.
they become higher up at a sponsor. You better
Yes.
treat these people right. In general, that should be, I think that's very good advice, Sammy. If you're at a site, be very courteous. Don't get combative with people. I see the coordinators getting mad at CRAs a lot, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's justified, but just be mindful. These people could be, decision makers at some point. I mean, maybe they are now. Maybe
Yeah.
it's not some point. Maybe it's now.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. And you were talking about the courage and the ambiguous part of it.
Mm.
Honestly, that one part of it was just amazing mentors that I was able to gain out of being a coordinator. Like, one person that helped me a lot was, he was a CRA, and he was just one of the most fantastic people I've ever seen in my life in clinical research space. He When I was an RA, and it was like my coordinator debut, so to say. I was running a study, and it was a COVID study, and he came over, and he saw me working hard, and he saw me hustling, but he also saw the lack of the sophisticated knowledge that is required sometimes in terms of wording the note to files correctly, or
Yeah,
those kind of stuff. So one day he just stayed out of hours for until like the site would close at 4:30 p.m. He stayed until like 8:30 p.m. He was just teaching me regulatory for free.
really.
Yeah, just because he saw me I
Wow.
actually care about it.
Shout out to this dude.
Then yeah, and
Where's
then
he
his
at
his
now?
name is he is with another CRO.
Well, let's shout him out. You were gonna mention his name.
Absolutely, yeah. His name is Emmanuel Edroson, and I can send you his LinkedIn. He is one of the most courteous, one of the most helpful, one of the most
Wow.
genuine people that I've ever had the opportunity and privilege to work with. And he was the reason that I was able to get my CRA job, because he actually put my name down for it and recommended me.
Wow.
And when I opened my site, he was the first general site qualification visit I had. He came over, he qualified my site.
Whoa. Okay, so
Yeah.
you open your site, you net let him know, hey, I have a site now. Thank you
Yes.
for
Yes.
everything. This is
Yes.
true networking.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not
He
just
was there
asking when
all
you need
along.
something, it's doing good before you even ask for something.
Yes. Yes.
Ah,
Yes.
okay.
And he was there all along, and he was just so helpful with everything. And yeah, other people too. I honestly, I can't think of like other people right now, but there was so many people that good networking, being able to talk to people, being
Mm-hmm.
able to ask questions, and building that foundation of people that they are genuinely interested in your success as
Yeah.
a up and running entrepreneur, can decrease the level of ambiguity by a good margin. But I would say, the courage part of it, and the part that you have to just jump in both feet. I think that part is just one of the parts that it was the most difficult for me. You
For most
know,
people.
yeah. And it took a lot of risk. Basically all the savings that I had, I cashed out my 401k. I put
Mm.
everything down for it. I was like, it's this one either it gonna either make me or break me. And I don't advise that kind of risk for anybody. I think that was a little bit
What was
careless of
the
me.
funding like used for? What was like the main expenditures early on?
Honestly, the main expenditures was down payment for the security deposit for our space,
The
and
lease.
then yeah, the lease, and then
You're
the
in
equipment.
Seattle, right?
I'm in Seattle, yeah.
Oh, so it's not cheap. Okay.
Yeah. And the equipment and my the other thing is I was very intentional about building a dedicated research facility, which is
Okay. So
by a lot of
standalone.
yeah, by a
Have the
lot of
PIs
industry
come to you.
experts. Yes. By a lot of industry experts, that's not the best way to start a site, you know?
I advise against that a lot.
Yeah,
I'd say it's the end goal soon,
yeah,
quickly, but because you're eventually gonna need that space. But I
yeah,
think the best, if you can, the
yeah,
most risk-free way to get there is embed yourself in one PI's private practice, get some revenue, then start doing that as you start to expand. But you
yes,
took the extra leap of
yes,
faith, which I've done too. Gone against my own advice, and I even tell
yeah,
our partners when we do it, this is against my advice, but
yeah,
we don't have another option right now other
yeah.
than in this situation
Yeah.
to do this.
Yeah, and then yeah, that was another reason I didn't have another option. You
Yeah.
know, I had an amazing PI, and I had an amazing opportunity to start things, and I knew it's going to be very painful and difficult to make it as a dedicated facility. But I also knew once you make it as a dedicated facility, you're going to be able to welcome studies on a higher,
Yeah.
range of therapeutic areas, and also being able to have the operational capacity. We have
I
four
got you.
exam rooms, so we're going to be able to bring in patients in and out on a very large capacity.
So
You know,
you went ahead and leased a bigger space knowing that you're gonna grow into it. Yeah, guys and gals, everything is probability. All right.
yes,
Nothing's
yes,
guaranteed. Even the low risk way of find a
yeah,
doctor, work with him or her, don't spend money on rent. There's no guarantee that's gonna work, but what that does minimize is losing money.
yes,
Um, like the probability of losing money if you didn't invest much money is almost zero, right? Because there's
yeah,
nothing to lose. But
yeah,
if you're like Sammy, where you're putting like your life savings at the time,
yes,
you are risking. So then you got to make sure your job becomes the
y-
probability of success or the probability of failure needs to
yeah,
be reduced at every opportunity. Like every decision at that point is to preserve that capital to not lose it,
yeah,
how to make it back.
yeah,
And that's kind of
yeah,
business school in its best form. It's
yeah,
supposed to teach you
yeah.
this stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And honestly, the other reason that I wanted to do this was the fact that I wanted to make sure it's um, big enough and serious enough right off the bat that sh- I'm obligated to show a crazy amount of commitment, And again,
Burn
you start
bridges,
this
burn the
thing.
boats.
Yes, yeah. And like I think there's a quote from Winston Churchill that says you don't need to know how you're gonna do it. You just have to say I'm gonna be able to do it and get the job and then go and figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge advocate of that. I'm a huge advocate of putting yourself into the situations that are stressful and ambiguous and there's high stakes and just going out there and believing on your capabilities on making it. And that was my philosophy. I was like, if I go big right off the bat, I'm going to be obligated to make this site successful, you know, and that's really what happened.
And there's people, the problem with burning the boats philosophy, because I agree with it in principle. I think at some point you have to do it,
Yeah,
especially when you're getting started. I think as you get older, you could reduce risk by not burning your boats because you
yeah,
probably already did it in the past. You don't want to do this all the time, burning
yeah,
your boats, because at some point you will lose and you will lose everything because burning the
yes,
boats literally means giving yourself no other option.
yes,
But when you're younger, you can recover from this, right? The older
yes,
you get, the more you have to risk, which ultimately everything's risk reward.
yeah,
And it's just if your if your net worth gets higher and higher and you start risking it all, every single
yeah,
opportunity, at some
it's
point you're gonna have a huge reward for
yeah,
that to make sense, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
site ownership, it is huge reward, but it takes a decade to realize the
Yes.
huge reward, and it's more likely that it's just going to be a moderate reward.
Yes.
But then what
Yes.
happens if you risk it all and you want a huge reward, not a moderate?
Yeah.
You start getting desperate and nervous, and you start doing things that are not conducive to the site's success. So I'm very careful with that burning the boats, which my friend Lee Eifler advocates. But I think it's done in the right context, like you in your case. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, and I think context really matters. Being able to have capabilities that you're going to be able to rely on really matters. And for me, was my site is located in Washington,
Mhm.
so I can count the number of my competition with my fingers. You
I
know?
know for some reason.
Yeah,
Why is that? Why is it that
I have
Seattle
no
doesn't
idea.
have, besides the academic, UW
Yeah,
and I don't know if Washington State does, but
yeah,
University of Washington, other
yeah.
than that, what? There's,
I have no idea. Well, I mean, it's the case for all the neighboring four states too: Idaho, Montana, Oregon, Washington. There's nothing going on.
yeah.
And that's actually my long-term goal, is to start sites in every single one of these states.
Huh.
That's where I'm going to take the next step of, so to
We
say,
might need to talk
expansion.
off camera about Oregon because there's a potential
Absolutely.
opportunity for my
Okay.
site, Yuma Clinical Trials, to expand to Oregon,
Okay.
whether under some unique circumstances,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
always the
Yeah.
case.
Yeah.
Because I would have never thought Oregon, but
Yeah. Yeah.
interesting.
So
Okay,
yeah.
so yeah, I've noticed that too. Like the Pacific Northwest. Okay, Chris, our business partner, is from Seattle,
Yeah.
and he's like, yeah, I don't know why there's never sites out here.
Yeah.
You start seeing more
And
in Boise now. Like there's more sites,
yeah.
but yeah, Montana, no. I do know someone that trying to do it in Montana. I can introduce you, and then. Oregon, I used to know. Clinical Trials of America used to be headquartered in Oregon. They were a University of Oregon kind of private, like some of the
Okay.
stakeholders started their own site. They became a bigger SMO and sold.
Okay. See.
The only reason I know them is because they wanted to buy my site like 2 decades ago almost. Um,
Yeah.
and then Seattle used to have like what, Radiant Research, a big SMO
Radiant research. Hmm.
that they sold to, I don't know if that bubble burst and they didn't sell or something happened during the SMO bubble,
Hmm.
but they were headquartered in Seattle. Uh,
Interesting.
and then there was a few other, but yeah, you don't hear too much going on and over
Yeah.
there.
And then the funny thing is, once I started, which was an extreme surprise for me, within the first, I would say, month and a half, 2 months of me landing my first protocol and gaining traction, I actually had SMOs reaching out to
Hmm,
want to partner up or potentially take over. That's how much there is nothing going on here.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's checks all the boxes. Diversity,
Yeah.
like underserved. I mean,
Yes.
Seattle is a very diverse city. You have a huge Asian Americans, you have
Yes.
Native American,
Alaska natives.
Latino, you got everything. African
Yes.
Americans. Honestly, it's should be as busy as like LA, Chicago when it comes to research sites, and it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And Um, the other thing is, a lot of therapeutic areas have a lot of high prevalence here due to the Pacific Northwest climate, such as
Yeah.
eczema, asthma.
Ooh.
Um, like we're getting so much
Seasonal
dermatology
affective
protocols right now.
disorder.
Yeah,
Sad.
yes, alopecia,
Uh,
depression,
mm.
ADHD. These things, because of the climate, these
Is
things are
it, Sammy,
so prevalent here.
the reason there's not private sites in like the Bay Area and in California, like San Francisco, is because all the private practices have been bought up and
Yeah.
Kaiser Permanente is huge there, but the Bay Area has so many of these Kaiser Permanente wannabes. Like usually
Okay.
they throw tech on top of it too, and they become like this new HMO that they're
Mm,
too busy to partner with research and they're like inaccessible to it. And then
mm,
every doctor in that community is like works for these people.
Yeah.
That's why there's not so many sites in San Francisco.
Okay.
Is that the case in Seattle?
Well, honestly, I don't know. I haven't seen that pattern here, but I
Okay.
might just not be in the right setting or the information base for it.
But like, have you approached enough private practice physicians to know that there's still a market there for like private practice?
So in general, I would say there is a huge market for private practice. We don't have much private practices.
Right.
Majority of the
Right.
care is delivered by large outfits here.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's what I suspected too.
yeah, yeah. Um, in our level right now, I would say there's more than enough private practices, and that was one of the things that I wanted to talk about. I think you were asking how do you mitigate the ambiguity. One of the things that I learned right off the bat was if you don't have studies and you're waiting until doing research, you're going to have to be out there building capabilities. And that was one of the things that I was so focused on in terms of finding affiliations, finding other clinics that want
Hmm.
to work on different studies, how we can come up with creative models to create value for sponsors.
Hmm.
And we've been very successful with being able to have an affiliation for with an urgent care nearby that we're going to potentially do studies.
Ah, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And
Those are the
another
way. Yep.
yeah, another pediatrics office, another speech clinic. What else? A potential emergency department.
I see.
So if you're not doing research as a site director, you should be out there
Yeah.
building capabilities so that when the right protocol comes in, you have the right infrastructure to offer so you can make a um I would say you can make a coherent
Hmm.
enrollment strategy to the sponsor. Because if you're not coherent, they're not gonna waste their time. You have to be coherent.
Of
You have to
course.
make sure your business strategy is very solid. You filled all the loopholes for them before even they want to
Right. You
enroll.
have to be, they're taking a lot of risk as it is with their drugs and their studies.
Yeah,
So you have to give them like a risk-free or as close to a risk-free solution, and well,
absolutely,
the good thing
100%.
about sites where you are located, where I'm located, is there are no other sites. So
Yeah,
that's one of their risk is gone, like site
yeah,
competition amongst patients. But there's other risks, like lack of
yes,
experience. Well, how do we know? And this is where like tools like my Patient Ace comes in, which if you ever want a demo, I can have our community outreach person reach out to you or anyone listening. Patient Ace
absolutely.
has been the
Yeah,
recruitment portal helping sites,
yeah,
and pretty affordable one
yeah,
compared to the competition. But
yeah.
so when did you officially open your site?
It was okay. So January of this year, we signed the lease,
Congrats.
and we my landlord was just so nice to me. I told her, hey, I want to sign the lease early, start building the site, start doing biz dev, but I don't want to pay rent until 2 months later. And is that okay with you?
Yeah.
And she said yes.
Ooh.
That's what I did. I got my CLIA waiver, I got my equipment there, I got things calibrated, I got everything ready, and I started doing biz dev. And I think 2 weeks before me getting into the point that I have to start paying rent,
Yeah.
I got my study. I got my first study in the door.
You hustle. Was it from the CRA that was your mentor and you were talking with, or?
No, actually, it was a completely different opportunity.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yeah, it was a completely different opportunity. It was in a space that we never thought we're going to do research in.
You think it was
You
luck
know,
or just like timing or
I
to get
think
that?
it
Because
was a
that's
little bit of it
fast.
was it was fast. It
Few
was
months is
very fast,
fast.
and I think a huge part of it, absolutely. I think when and this might sound a little cheesy, but that's just what I believe. When universe wants something for you, they will make a way to happen. Like
I don't think it's
do the good work,
cheesy.
have good intentions, make the
Sammy,
center of
what
your
the
work wanting to
fuck?
help people, and things will happen.
What the fuck do we actually understand about the universe? Like
Yeah.
for that to be considered irrational, because
Yeah.
we don't understand shit about it. And so,
Yeah.
like, if you think it's rational, it might be. Like,
Yeah.
nobody knows. Nobody
Yeah.
knows this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I agree with you on that one.
And honestly, I think the biggest thing, the biggest, best business development approach and tool probably that I had was talking to other site owners from other states that we do not have direct competition.
Of course,
You
we don't
know?
got beef. We gotta
Yeah,
start networking, man. I think you and
exactly.
I'm glad we got connected because of the podcast.
Yeah,
And we'll probably, I feel like we'll do multiple episodes because we can have many conversations. So this is just the first one. So get used to seeing Sammy. I would
thank you.
like to feature you at SOS
I would love
on
to
a
be featured
panel or
then.
something. We always want fresh blood in there, and
Absolutely.
you're like perfect for this. So
Absolutely.
I have to add you to our Google Drive somehow. My team gets
Absolutely.
on me for not being organized in that regard, so I gotta put your name on
Thank
here.
you very
So
much. Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, like one of the things that helped a lot was the fact that, other site owners, some of them I knew from my CRA time. And then some of them are just, I just looked them up and found them. And we still work. Sometimes I get study opportunities that I know they're not a good fit for me. And then I start hitting all the site owners I know from Houston, Florida, um, Austin, Dallas. Hey, this is the study I have on my hand. Do you want it? And they say, yeah, I think I can do it. And I forward it to them. And honestly, like having camaraderie with other people, seeing your success, a a parallel phenomena to other people's success, and seeing your sex contingent to other people's success, and having that mentality will take you so far in this line of work, because they do the same thing for me. They come to me, sounds, hey Sammy, I have this sponsor. They're not looking for any more Florida or Texas sites anymore. Do
right.
you wanna, I said, heck yes, send them over.
Yeah. We've been
Yeah,
lucky with at Yuma because of this too. Like, hey, we don't want more Miami or LA sites, but like, yeah,
yeah,
we Yuma, yes, of course. They
yeah,
want that fresh, just like we want new speakers, fresh blood for our
yeah,
conference.
yeah,
The sponsors want fresh blood for their
yes,
studies. Like,
yes,
yes, they do, but they want risk. More important to them than that is the risk-free, as close to risk-free as you can give them, which is
yeah,
the next level of that's where I'm at with my site now in year 4, going on year 5 is consistency, quality,
yes,
employee retention, a lot of that kind of stuff, which we get
yeah,
into as well. But that startup, if you like, I wanted you on because if you start making revenue, like for those watching in the future or listening, it's August 2025. So Sammy signed his lease in January of 25. And then in March, sounds like March, right? You got your study
yes, yes.
and you started making revenue for it recently.
Recently, yeah, yeah. I would say our first round of billings was, I think, 2 months ago.
Are you the
I
coordinator
think
or
so.
did you hire someone?
Yes. Yeah, I'm the coordinator.
Because you
I
took a
do.
lot of risk for the lease.
Yes, I do everything. My days are like 12 hours days right now because I have to
Yeah.
like wake up, see my patients, finish my charts, respond to
Yeah.
emails for other
Yeah.
things, do study startup on
But
other
good for
pipeline
you,
studies
man.
that are
Good for
coming
you.
in. And
This
then
is the
I have this
time.
rule.
Oh,
Yeah,
what's the rule? What's the rule?
I have this rule that no matter what happens, you're going to have to send at least 10 messages for business development every single day. So sometimes
There you
like
go.
my eyes are closed, I still find people on LinkedIn, send messages, find new CROs to make applications, because
And it works,
building
right?
I cannot stop not building the pipeline just because I'm running studies. And I'm not at the point that I can comfortably afford a
Right.
coordinator where I know I can maintain them and give them enough work,
You have to
so
work in your business and on your business
yes,
as an
yes.
entrepreneur now. Uh, I think it's valuable what you're doing to do the work yourself because what you want to do, like for your next site, you may skip this step because you'll kind of know. But I
Yeah,
think for this one, and I didn't skip it with Yuma clinical trials. I had a condensed version of it because I
yeah,
knew I just wanted to see how different it was in Yuma. You want to build the process for your future hire, like every aspect. How do you order toilet paper? How do you order toner for
Yes.
the, printer.
Yes.
Like you want a procedures for everything.
Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
exaggerating a little bit, but not
Yeah.
really, because
Yeah.
these are questions your staff will ask you at some point when you step away. Hey Dan, we're out of
Absolutely.
toner. Like, what do we do? Well, go buy
Yeah.
some, you know.
Yeah.
But you need like an actual process, like for
Yes. Yes.
everything. And then there's more
Yeah.
complex stuff too. Like
Yes.
there's a deviation. Who's gonna do what? You have to map it all out to where it's nothing's left to guess for your staff.
100%. 100%. And like still like toner, printer, toilet paper, those are easy. Do you know what's the hard things? When you miss a signature on a consent form, the patient gets paid and walks away. Those are the
Whew.
things that you need bulletproof procedures for it.
We made a
You
few
know?
house calls.
Yeah.
Some of the staff learned the hard way back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot initial on page 19. You
Yes.
better go. That patient left. You better find a
Yes.
way to make it happen. And they would go
Exactly.
sometimes to the house. Sometimes they would have
Exactly.
patient would
Yeah.
be nice and come back.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
right, man.
Yeah.
You gotta have a process for everything. And there's no
100%.
way you, as Sammy, as smart as you are, can foresee all thousands plus potential things. You have to just go through enough of them to where you have like these categories where you know the process, and then when your new staff comes in, you just train them on that.
Yeah. Yeah. And like
Yes.
one of the things was for me was I made this very early on back in my when I was an RA and then coordinator. I made this thing that I basically started because I was the coordinator and I had a whole bunch of RAs running these COVID studies for me. And I had like maybe 15, 20 patients coming in and out of the door every day. So what I came up was I came up with a two-factor authentication system basically that I made a enrollment verification sheet that the 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 RA has to check out the IRB approval date, the version date of the consent form, and then signatures, and then format of the signatures and initial them, and then hand it over to another RA, and then the other RA had to do the same exact thing and
You
initial.
made this in Excel, or where did you make this?
I made it in a Word, and then we
Okay.
would just print it and just slap it on top of the chart,
So do
because we
you
were
you
paying
don't
for the
use the
chart.
eSource or anything right now?
We didn't use it at that time, no,
Do you
no,
have one now?
because this right now, yes,
Oh, you
right
use
now,
the
yeah,
eSource?
yeah, yeah.
Which
Right now,
one
we are
which one do you
going
use?
toward it.
Okay.
Which one you said?
Yeah.
Eclean Pro.
They're good guys.
They're
They're a
amazing.
SOS sponsor as well.
Yeah, they're amazing. And you know why? How I learned they're so fantastic? I worked on the platform as a CRA. And I
Okay.
realized
You
if
see?
this thing can make the life of a CRA this easy,
Yeah.
that's how difficult it's gonna be make my life. I'm gonna pay for it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I'm gonna at the end of the day, again, customer service. I
I
want to
told
make sure
those
whatever
guys
I can do in my power to make their life easy.
I told those guys if I wasn't so loyal to Creo, so they're a podcast sponsor, but even
Yeah,
more importantly, I've used Creo since I switched to
yeah,
eSource like over
yeah,
6 years ago.
yeah,
And they give me everything I need. And you do reach a point where like you don't switch for money anymore. That part's
yeah,
negligible. You
yeah,
want just consistency and the workflow and like all those systems I told you about.
yeah,
Who wants to like retrain now on a new process? Like you just leave it once it's running. But for a startup, I told
yeah,
the Clint Pro guys if it wasn't for Creo,
yeah.
I'd be all over you guys because you guys
Yeah, I
got
know.
your shit together. And
Yeah,
shout out
these
to
guys are
them.
doing some fantastic job. They're
Yeah.
doing some
Yeah.
fantastic job. Yeah.
Well, you know what your next stage will be, Sammy? I predict the future, man, because I was here four
Yeah.
years ago. You're doing everything now yourself, right?
Yes.
You're gonna get enough money to just, it's a no-brainer. You're gonna hire someone.
Yeah.
You may be in Seattle, you find someone with experience, but probably not because you
Hmm.
want to like, you don't have enough money really to pay like a fully experienced. Plus, you don't want someone else's systems coming in. So what
Hmm.
you will find is like somebody with potential,
Hmm.
but no experience, or maybe very little experience. But you're gonna have to train them, and you're gonna have to be okay with. And this is the part that took me forever to learn to be okay
Mm.
with. I'm still not okay with it, but there's no other way. You're gonna have to be okay with them being at best 80% of your capability, that's a great employee. An average one is 50% of your capability. And then
Yeah.
anything less, you got to figure out either train them better or you're going to
Yeah.
have to move on.
Yeah.
But you're
Yeah.
going to have to be okay with that. And you're going to drop your efficiency,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The customer service of your sponsor is going to go a little bit down. You
Yeah.
got to make it to where you make up for it with more studies and like it's just not catastrophic.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the only way you're going to grow because no
Yeah.
one's going to be Sammy.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
one's gonna be Dan. They shouldn't be. It's our
Yeah.
business, not theirs.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like you want to get those 80%, 85. If you're lucky, you get like a 90. They're like you keep them for life if you can somehow.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have a
Yeah.
few like that, but that's gonna be your next step and like
I
having to
agree.
be okay with it, but then not tolerating it too much when the
Yeah.
bad ones, because then you start hiring more and then
Yeah.
they start learning the bad habits of the others.
Yeah.
And like
Yes.
that
Yes.
culture, that's like year three, year four type of shit. But
Yes.
that's gonna give you headaches, man. Interpersonal conflict that have nothing to do with you. But everyone
Yeah.
comes to you to complain. This one did this. This person said that. That's not fair. This and this,
Yeah.
nothing's gonna be fair in this kind of thing. But you're gonna have to
100%.
resolve it, be the
Yes.
mediator. My wife, I'm lucky, is our HR. She can handle those interpersonal stuff really good. But like the headaches never go away, and it
Yeah.
becomes less about how we're gonna pay our bills to
Yeah.
how do we not destroy our culture
Yes.
so that we can pay bills in the future. I've already
Yeah.
been through that like two or three cycles already,
Oh
and
God.
it's only in year about to be year five. So be
Yeah.
ready, man, because that unless you just keep it tight, but then like
Yeah.
just you and a few people,
Yeah.
but once you get to like three, four, five staff,
Yeah.
I think it's unavoidable. This kind of stuff's gonna happen, and you're gonna
I
have to
think
be
so
good at
too,
dealing
man.
with that.
Yeah. And I think, and I'm gonna, and that's one of the things that I think for me personally was such a good thing to go to business school was this, that
Yeah.
I if I wouldn't have gone to business school, I probably did not have the right tools to be able to build a good company culture because
Yeah.
I'm not from here. I don't know how to resolve disputes in a professional yet culturally
Yeah.
appropriate fashion, you know?
Nah.
Yeah. And I think one of the things for me was like at the beginning too, like you're saying like the 90%, 95%. I was that person for my previous
And
firms,
that's why they wanted
wherever
you
I
to
worked.
go wherever they
Yeah,
wanted you to open a site because they're like, we can't lose
yeah,
this dude.
yeah,
He's probably in their head, you're like, yeah, this dude's like 90% of what we are. If we
yeah,
give him some equity, he'll be up hopefully 100.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
exactly. That's what they were
yeah,
doing.
yeah. And and then I saw what happened to an organization, several times where you have an amazing things going and then the culture is off or there's one or
Mm.
two bad apples and then the whole thing gets infected, and not in clinical research, in my previous endeavors since I came here from 2016.
In anything.
Yeah. And one of the things that I'm very intentional about is being very being very outspoken and having very clear guidelines on what's the culture, what's the benchmark, what's our do's and what's our the don'ts, and
Yeah.
not being shy with setting those standards and taking the just executing on what it takes in order to keep the culture, because once you learn that you keep the culture a certain way, there's a lot less collateral damage. And like one of the examples is the customer service, right? Like for
Yeah.
me, I always saw how I was treated in some sites as a CRA, and I saw how sites treats other CRAs, and I saw how I treat other CRAs. And I made a rule that like if I see anyone being nasty in my organization to any CRA, I'm gonna shut it off right away. Like, come here, sit down. you can't talk to a CRA like that. We're a hospital site. We're gonna make them feel welcome. We're gonna buy them lunch. We're gonna give them snacks. We're gonna drop off coffee for them. We're gonna go above and beyond to make
Yeah.
sure these guys feel like home.
Yeah.
And if whatever the site you're coming from, that's the culture, I'm more than happy to make you recommendations.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your
Yeah. Yeah.
service. You know, and I think
We need to
making it
do that.
intentional is really important.
I think so too. We've
Yeah,
had, luckily, friendly staff at my site where CRAs do love us, but I we do used to offer lunch, and enough of them
yeah,
just said no to where they
yeah,
stopped. But I'm gonna talk to one of my staff about bringing that back.
yeah,
Just to offer, and but you're right. You know, then there's issues could be with not responding maybe to patient leads on time, which patient
yeah,
A's trying to automate this. We can talk
yeah,
later. Or not answering queries on time. You know, you may be nice, but then the queries are not getting answered. And there's other things too, like just
yeah.
amongst each other internally. Those
Yes,
things can
yes,
get, one,
100%.
if you put everyone in a competitive place and you're like, I need someone show me who can be a leader, you're
Yeah,
actually, and this was my mistake, you're inadvertently creating hostility because
yes,
you're putting people against each other, which was not
yes,
my intention, but that's ended
yeah,
up
yeah,
happening, and I
yeah,
learned the hard way, like,
yeah,
no, I
yeah,
can't go that hard. I gotta like be a little more
yeah,
uh I guess emotionally intelligent about that. But it never
yeah,
ends, man. It's always gonna be something else, and
yeah,
it's just the new name of the game. Once you reach that
yeah,
level, which you're not that far from, you're like 2 years away.
yeah,
So enjoy these
yeah.
2 years. They're very special.
Yes.
Your profit margins will never be higher.
Yeah.
They're gonna go lower, and so will like the extracurricular that you never wanted to be a part of. That's
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah. Yeah.
that's gonna
Yeah.
come too.
Yeah.
That's gonna come too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's
I know.
still rewarding. It's
Yeah.
still, it's still. I would not want to do anything else at this time, and I think we have a decade
Yeah.
left of like really making hay while the sun shines as
Yeah.
sites before a lot of things change. I think with tech and with consolidation, but I think
Yeah.
we're in the golden era, man. So
Yeah.
congrats to you.
Thank you.
We
Thank you
gotta
very
definitely
much.
do a part two because first of all, you're in an interesting phase where we can talk all these things through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I would like to have another interview, maybe part two, after you hired your first staff and see how that's going. The first
Absolutely.
one's
Yeah.
no problem, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
hire that second one,
Yes.
if they're both ambitious,
Yeah.
it could be problems.
Yes. Yeah. 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 And I saw that from a coordinator and then like a PM standpoint where I had a like this little team and it was working so well. It was just me, two nurses, two coordinators, and it was just going fantastic. And then we had a huge influx of you know protocols coming, so we
Yeah,
had to go out there and hire.
yeah.
And then so difficult to make sure the culture works, to make sure
hmm
everybody feels
hmm
appreciated, to make sure everybody is happy with the workspace. Yeah, it's these are questions and obstacles that massive organizations pay millions if not billions of dollars to resolve. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's difficult, it's very difficult to get people to work with each other.
And nobody's better than a small business owner to experience these
Oh,
things. But
yes, yes.
everybody, go connect with Sammy right now. His LinkedIn is
Thank you.
underneath this video and in the show notes.
Thank
And
you. Thank you very
I'm gonna
much.
post this today because I had a busy weekend moving furniture,
Yeah,
and I didn't have a content for today. So this is going today. So it's gonna go right now
amazing.
in like an hour after we hit stop record.
Yeah,
Sammy, we gotta do a part two, man. We're gonna get you to
absolutely that.
SOS. While we were doing this interview, I already asked the team where I submit new um speakers and panelists.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so we're gonna figure this out, but we're gonna see
absolutely.
more of you. And Guru
Absolutely that.
Nation's gonna follow you now, and
Thank
everybody,
you very much.
he's a networker, so everybody go connect right
Thank
now.
you.
Any
Thank you
last
very much.
words or call to action maybe or anything for the Guru Nation?
Honestly, Dan, I think the biggest thing I wanted to say is a huge thank you to you. And I think your work is so valuable in terms of being able to showing the prospects and the potential of this industry to people. And for a young, want to be entrepreneur like me 4 years ago, I could not have any better, advice than the things that you provided on your platform. And I just want to take the time and thank you for the work you're doing because it's extremely valuable. It gives vision and mission and prospects to people who want to enter an industry that needs a lot of good people to be in. And I think you showcase the success stories and you showcase what's the true potential of this industry. And you, to be completely honest, you were one of the reasons that I entered this industry and I saw the true potentials. And this podcast, this was a vision that I was building toward
Man.
for 4 years.
Wow.
So I want to thank you for that. I think,
Thank you, man.
honestly, if I can do anything that I can contribute to that mission, I am more than happy. I will be honored to. And part two, part three, part four, whatever it is, sign
All
me
the
up.
parts.
I would love to do it.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you
Thank you.
for that.
Sure.
It does mean a lot, even though like you get kind of accustomed to just interviewing, but ultimately, like when I started this, the vision was I didn't know who you were, but the vision was you and people like you to actually do something with it. Like I knew there was raw ingredients out there, and I
Yeah.
know I can't cook all the meals. Like there's no way.
Yeah.
And so like to see you and others that have come out and do it, like and even if I had some small role in that, it's an honor, man. And I think we
Yeah.
just continue building and helping
Thank you.
each other out. And I think we have 10 years left, man, and then things get
Yeah.
drastically different.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But then maybe we'll
100%.
do tech or something
100%.
else. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Yeah.
still be around, God willing. I will too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
a lot of people watching and listening also.
Yeah.
So thank you
Yeah.
for that,
Yeah.
Sammy. It means a
Of
lot.
course. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Everybody
Thank
go
you, man.
connect right now and wait for the part two. Bye
Thank you.
bye.